The man lived a quiet life, far away from noise and drama. He worked in a small shop, went home every evening, and lived with simple habits. For him, every day looked the same, like pages of a book with no new story. He never thought that one evening would break his world apart. It was late afternoon, the sun low in the sky. When he stepped out to lock the shop, the streets were calm. Only a few people walking home then. He noticed someone standing across the road. Staring at him, it was a woman, tall, slim, her face partly covered by a dark hood. Beside her stood a small child. Holding her hand tightly, the man tried to ignore them, but their eyes never left him. He felt something strange, like they knew him before he could walk away. The woman stepped forward. Her steps were slow but firm, as if every step carried heavy weight. The child looked nervous but curious, staring directly at the man's face. When she stopped in front of him, the woman pulled out a picture. Her hand shook slightly as she held it. She bent down, showing the picture to the little child, and whispered, "He's the one," she said softly. "He's your real father." The man froze, confused and shocked. His eyes moved from the picture to the woman's face. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice sharp but unsteady. The woman lifted her eyes, and for the first time he saw them. Eyes not like human eyes, but glowing faintly with a strange light. They were alien, otherworldly, impossible to ignore. The man stepped back, his heart racing. This was not a normal stranger, this was something different. The child clutched the woman's dress tightly, then slowly looked up at the man. "Father?" the child whispered. The single word cut deep into his chest. It felt unreal yet powerful, as if something inside him had waited for that word. People nearby stopped walking, watching the strange scene. Some whispered, some frowned, not understanding. The man felt heat rising in his face. "Who are you? Why are you saying this?" he demanded. But the woman did not look away. Instead, she slowly showed him the picture. The man's breath caught in his throat. The picture was old and worn, but it was clear. It was his face, years younger, staring back at him from the photo. The background in the picture was not Earth, not any place he knew. Strange buildings, sharp towers, and glowing skies filled the scene. How could this exist? How could his face be there? He snatched the picture with shaking hands. "Where did you get this?" he asked, his voice almost breaking. The woman's lips trembled, but her voice was steady. "You are the one," she said firmly. "You are his father. Whether you accept it or not." The man felt the ground beneath him tilt. None of this made sense, and yet the child's eyes, half human, half alien, they looked at him with hope, with trust, as if waiting for him to confirm it. The world around seemed to blur. He could hear the distant sound of traffic, the murmur of the crowd, but inside his head, there was only one thought: how is this possible? He stepped back again, shaking his head. "No, this is a mistake. I don't know you," he whispered. But deep inside, something heavy stirred. A memory he could not reach, like a shadow locked behind his mind. The woman stepped closer, lowering her hood slightly. Her skin carried strange patterns, glowing faintly in the evening light. Clearly, she was not from Earth. The child tugged her arm and looked again at the man. "Father, don't you know me?" the child said softly. The words hit harder than any weapon. The man's chest tightened and he could not answer. Silence stretched between them. Filled with tension, the woman finally spoke, her voice almost breaking. "I came a long way through danger and fear, only to find you," she said. "Please, listen before they find us." The man wanted to shout, to run, to demand answers, but his body would not move, his voice would not rise. All he could do was stare at the picture in his hands, his own face from another world staring back at him. And the child, innocent, fragile, looking at him like he was everything. At that moment, he realized one thing. His life of peace, of simple days, was gone. Something greater, darker, and more dangerous had just begun. The picture burned in his hand like fire, and though he wanted to deny it, a whisper inside him said the same words the woman had spoken. "He's the one." The street felt heavier after the strange meeting. The man could not think clearly, his hands still shaking as he held the old picture. The alien woman stood in front of him, calm but tired. Her child pressed close to her side. People around began to walk away, whispering quietly. Not wanting to be part of this strange scene, the man finally found his voice. "This is some kind of trick," he said sharply. "I don't know you. I've never seen you before." His words were strong, but his voice cracked at the end. because deep inside, part of him already feared her words might be true. The woman looked at him with eyes that glowed faintly. "There is no trick," she replied. "Your blood runs in him." She placed her hand on the child's shoulder. "And I crossed the stars only to bring him to you." The child looked up, his face innocent but filled with hope. The man stared back, torn between anger and confusion. It felt impossible. How could he be a father to someone from another world? And yet the child's features carried both human softness and alien strangeness. The small hands, the round cheeks, human, but the faint marks glowing along the skin, alien. It was undeniable, something mixed within the boy's very being. The man shook his head violently. "No, this can't be real," he muttered. He wanted to throw the picture away, but his fingers refused to let go. It felt like the picture was glued to his hand. Burning into his skin, the woman took a slow step forward. Her voice lowered, almost pleading. "You don't remember." "Because they took your memories," she said. Her words cut through him like a blade. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. The woman's eyes filled with both pain and anger. "They took you years ago. You were not asleep in your bed as you thought. You were taken to my world. You were used, tested, and then returned, empty." With no memory of what happened, the man's breath caught. Memories flashed in his mind, not clear. Only shadows, strange dreams he used to have. Visions of lights, sounds, faces he couldn't explain. For years he had ignored them, calling them imagination, but now, her words gave those dreams shape. Could it be true? Could he really have been taken, experimented on, and then sent back? The man's heart pounded, he whispered. "That's impossible." But the woman stepped closer, her hand trembling. "You are his father, whether you want to be or not. They used your blood, your life, your humanity, and this child is the proof of it." The child reached out suddenly, his small fingers brushing against the man's arm. The touch was light but powerful. The man felt a strange pull, a warmth running through him. The boy's glowing eyes looked straight into his, and for a moment the man saw flashes, images of stars, a strange city of towers and himself, standing among beings not human. He pulled his hand back in shock, gasping, "What? What was that?" he stammered. The woman's lips curved into a sad smile. "You felt it, didn't you? The bond cannot lie," she whispered. "No matter what your mind forgets, your blood remembers." The man stumbled back, shaking his head. "This is madness. I'm just a shopkeeper. I'm nobody," he muttered. But the woman's voice rose, her tone filled with urgency. "You are not nobody. You were chosen and you were used. And now because of him," she looked at the child, "they will come for us. They will come for you." The man froze. A chill spread through his chest. He wanted to deny her, but deep down he felt it. Something was watching. Something was waiting. The shadows around seemed heavier. The night colder. Could it be true? Was someone out there searching for them right now? The child pressed closer to the woman, whispering, "Mother, he doesn't believe us." The woman stroked the child's hair gently, her voice steady. "He will. When the danger comes, he will." The man's throat was dry, his mind in chaos. He wanted to run back home, shut the door, and never see them again. But the picture in his hand refused to be forgotten, and the child's innocent eyes haunted him. Something inside him whispered that this was not a lie, that his life was no longer his own. The woman straightened, her voice strong. "You must decide soon. Accept him or let him be hunted. But if you walk away, know this: they will still come for you, because you are part of this story, whether you like it or not." The man stared at her, silent. The street around them grew quiet, the air heavy with unspoken truth. He wanted to answer, but the words would not come. All he could feel was fear, confusion, and a strange pull he could not escape. The child reached out again, softly saying, "Father," and in that single word the man felt his walls breaking. Whether truth or lie, the claim was already inside him, and nothing would ever be the same again. The man could not sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the child's glowing eyes staring back. Every time he tried to calm his mind, the picture burned in his thoughts. His own face, in another world under alien skies. It was too much to believe, yet too strong to deny. He sat in his small living room, the picture lying on the table before him. The shadows of the night seemed heavier, as if something unseen moved around his house. He rubbed his face, whispering to himself, "This is not real. This cannot be real." But the whisper in his heart kept answering, "It is real." Suddenly, there was a soft knock at the door. The man froze, fear running through his chest. Slowly, he stood and walked to the door. When he opened it, the woman stood there again. Her child pressed close to her side. She looked tired, her eyes filled with worry. "Please," she whispered, "let us in. We cannot stay outside. They are searching for us, against his better judgment." The man let them in. The child's small footsteps echoed in his quiet home. The woman sat down, pulling her hood back, revealing more of her alien features. Her skin carried faint glowing lines. Like stars drawn across her face, the man sat opposite her. His arms crossed, his eyes cold. "You owe me answers," he said sharply. "No more riddles. Tell me the truth." The woman nodded slowly, her voice calm but heavy with pain. "You were taken many years ago," she began. "Not by choice, not by accident. They came in the night. They brought you to our world." The man's chest tightened. "I would remember something like that," he interrupted. But the woman shook her head. "They erased your memory. They do it to all subjects. But your body remembers even if your mind does not." Her words stirred something deep in him. He remembered the strange dreams he had carried all his life. Dreams of bright lights, strange voices, cities of glass and fire. Dreams that felt real but faded every morning. Could those dreams be the broken pieces of what she was saying? The woman continued. "They tested you, studied you, and in the end they used your DNA. Your life force to create him," she said, pointing to the boy. "He is half of me and half of you, a child born from two worlds." The man's gaze shifted to the boy. The child sat silently, his eyes wide, listening. There was no guilt in his face, no shame, only innocence. The man's heart softened slightly, though his mind still fought. How could they take me, use me, and then return me as if nothing happened? He asked bitterly. The woman lowered her eyes. "Because to them you are nothing but a tool," she said, "but to me, and to him, you are much more." Silence filled the room, heavy and painful. The man leaned back, running his hand through his hair. His life, once simple, now twisted into something far greater. He wanted to believe it was all a lie, but deep inside he knew the woman was not lying. The boy was real, and his blood was part of the boy's very being. The woman's voice softened. "They are looking for us," she said, "because he is not an ordinary child." The man's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" She looked at the boy with a mix of fear and pride. "He carries power in him. Power they fear, power they want to control, and if they find him, they will take him. They will break him just as they tried to break you." The child looked down, his small hands trembling. The man's heart twisted. This was no trick, no game. This was a child's life at stake. But he still struggled to accept. He whispered, "Why me? Why was I chosen?" The woman looked at him steadily. "Because you are human. Because your kind carries something they cannot create. A spirit, a will, a fire that cannot be broken. That is why they used you. That is why they fear what has been born from you." The man swallowed hard, his throat dry. Her words echoed in his chest. A fire that cannot be broken. Was that really him? He had always thought of himself as ordinary, small, unimportant, and yet here was proof, an alien woman. A half-human child and a truth too big to run from. The boy suddenly spoke, his voice soft but clear. "I saw you," he said, "in my dreams. You were there, standing in the light. You told me not to be afraid." The man stared at him, his heart pounding. "I never said that," he whispered. But the boy shook his head. "Yes, you did. In the dream you held my hand." The man felt a shiver run down his spine. Was the bond real? Could blood connect them beyond memory, beyond time? He could not answer, but he could not deny the feeling inside him. He looked at the woman, his voice unsteady. "What happens now?" The woman's face grew dark, her eyes sharp. "Now," she said quietly, "we run. Because soon they will find us. And when they do, you must choose, deny him, or fight for him." The man's chest tightened. He looked at the boy, at his innocent face, and knew the choice would not be easy. Because no matter how hard he tried to deny it, the past was real. The child was real. And the hidden truth of his life had already begun to rise. The man sat in silence long after the woman's words. His mind was a storm, his heart heavy. He looked at the child, who sat quietly on the couch, his small fingers tracing circles on the fabric. There was something innocent about him, yet something powerful. It was a feeling the man could not describe, like the boy belonged to him. Though he wanted to deny it, the woman spoke softly, her voice almost breaking. "He has waited his whole life to see you," she said. The man's chest tightened, he whispered. I don't know how to be a father. I don't even know if I believe this. But the boy turned his head, his glowing eyes staring deep into the man's soul. You are my father, he said simply. No anger, no demand, just truth. Spoken in a child's voice, the words pierced the man. He wanted to look away, but he couldn't. The child's gaze held him still, like invisible chains binding him. It wasn't fear, it was connection. Something pure and unexplainable. Something blood-deep, stronger than doubt. The woman leaned closer, her tone serious. You can try to deny it. You can run from us. But the bond between you and him is already alive. The man shook his head, standing quickly. This is madness, he muttered, pacing across the room, but every time he turned, the boy's eyes followed him. Not judging, not accusing, only waiting. Finally, the boy rose to his feet. He walked toward the man, slow, uncertain. When he reached him, he gently took the man's hand. The man stiffened, wanting to pull away, but as the boy's small fingers wrapped around his, warmth spread through him. It wasn't normal warmth, it was alive, pulsing, as if a hidden flame had awakened inside. In that moment, flashes filled the man's mind. A city of shining towers, a lab of glowing machines, himself standing under strange lights, voices echoing around him, and then, this very child, crying, reaching out, calling him. The vision broke suddenly. Leaving him gasping, he pulled his hand back, staring at the boy in shock. What? What did you do to me? The boy lowered his eyes, his voice trembling. I only wanted you to feel it, he said softly. The woman's voice was steady. The bond is real. He can show you what your mind cannot remember. He carries part of you within him. That is why you cannot escape it. The man pressed his palms to his face, breathing heavily. It was too much, too fast. But deep inside, the warmth still lingered. Not dangerous. Not dark. Just alive. It scared him, yet it also drew him closer. The boy stepped back, his shoulders small, his voice almost a whisper. Do you
hate me? The question stabbed the man's heart. His hands fell to his sides, his voice weak. No.
I don't hate you, he admitted. He didn't know if he loved him yet, but hatred was impossible. Because the boy's eyes held too much innocence, too much hope. The woman exhaled softly, as if relieved. Then there is still time, she said. The man turned sharply. Time for what? Her face darkened, her voice firm. Time before they find us. Time before they take him away. Time before your bond becomes their weapon. The man's stomach sank. Who are they? He asked. The woman looked toward the window, her glowing eyes reflecting the night. They are the hunters. They serve those who created him. They will not stop until he is theirs. And now that he has touched you, they will know. The bond leaves a trail. The man's heart pounded. His simple life was gone, replaced with fear and danger. Yet when he looked again at the boy, standing so small and fragile, something inside him hardened. He could not imagine handing him over to strangers. Not after seeing the fear in his eyes. Not after feeling that strange warmth. The boy whispered, Will you protect me? The words hit harder than anything else. The man wanted to say no, to step back into the safe life he knew. But the word refused to come. Instead, silence hung heavy in the room, and in that silence, the truth became clear. He was already tied to this child. Whether he wanted it or not, the woman stood, pulling the hood back over her head, her voice sharp. We must move. They will be here soon. If you care for him, even a little, you must come with us. The man stared at her, at the boy, at the picture still lying on the table. Everything inside him screamed to run, but his heart whispered something else. And as the boy's small hand reached for his again, the man felt his answer forming, not in his mind, but in his blood. The night outside was still, but inside the man's home the air grew heavy. The woman stood by the window, her hood drawn, her glowing eyes scanning the darkness. The boy clung to her side. Though his gaze kept drifting toward the man paced back and forth, the picture still lying on the table like a curse he couldn't escape. Finally he spoke, his voice sharp. You keep saying they will find us. Who are they? What do they want from me? From him? The woman turned, her face pale but strong. They are the hunters, she said quietly. They were made to track and capture those like me, and now those like him. The man frowned, confusion mixing with fear. Hunters? You mean soldiers? She shook her head. No, they are not soldiers. They are something worse. They were created to obey without question. They feel no mercy, no hesitation. Once they are sent, they will not stop until the target is taken. Or destroyed. The boy trembled, clutching her dress tighter. The man felt his chest tighten at the sight. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "And they're after you?" "After the boy?" The woman nodded slowly. "Yes, because he is not just a child. He is the first, a bridge between human and alien blood. To them, he is either a threat to a race or a weapon to control." The man's heart pounded. He whispered, "And me? Why would they come for me?" The woman's eyes softened with sorrow. "Because you are the source. If they have you, they can make more. They can twist your blood again and again until nothing of humanity is left." The man felt cold all over. The room seemed smaller, darker. He gripped the back of a chair to steady himself. "This is insane," he muttered. "I never asked for any of this." But the woman's reply was sharp. "Neither did I. Neither did he. But we are already inside this storm and there is no turning back." Before the man could answer, the boy gasped. He looked toward the window, his small body stiff. "They're here," he whispered. The man's head snapped toward him. "What do you mean?" But before anyone could move, the lights in the house flickered. The hum of electricity filled the air, low and unnatural. Outside, the shadows shifted, darker than the night itself. The woman's eyes widened. "Hide him," she hissed, pulling the boy behind her. The man stumbled backward, his heart racing. Through the window, he saw them, figures moving in the darkness. Tall and sharp, their bodies hidden under metallic armor. Their eyes glowed faint red, scanning the house like predators in the wild. The man's breath caught in his throat. "They don't look human," he whispered. The woman's voice was steady but urgent. "They are not. They were built for one purpose, to hunt us. And now they've found you too," the boy whimpered softly. Pressing his face into his mother's side, the man's chest twisted. He had never seen creatures like these, and yet deep inside, he felt the same strange pull. The same sense of déjà vu he had felt when the boy touched him. Had he seen them before in the erased part of his past? The hunters moved closer, their steps silent but heavy. One of them raised a weapon, the barrel glowing faintly. The woman turned quickly, her voice sharp. "We must run, now." The man's legs refused to move, his body frozen. But then the boy looked at him, his small hand reaching out. "Father, please," he whispered. And in that single word, the man felt his fear shift into something else. Rage, instinct, the need to protect. He grabbed the boy's hand without thinking. "Where do we go?" he demanded. The woman pulled a small device from her cloak. Pressing it to the wall, a hidden panel opened, revealing a narrow passage leading into the dark. "Through here," she said quickly. "It will take us to the old tunnels." "They won't expect it." The man stared at the passage, then at the hunters closing in. His old life, his quiet nights, his normal world, it was gone. All that remained was this moment, this choice. And he knew the choice was no longer his alone. It was tied to the boy, tied to the bond he could no longer deny. As the hunter stepped onto the porch, the woman shoved the man and child into the passage. The panel closed behind them just as a red beam sliced through the air. The sound of burning wood filled the house, followed by silence. In the dark tunnel, the man held the boy close, his voice unsteady. "They would have killed us." The woman's voice echoed softly in the narrow space. "They don't kill unless ordered. But for you, and for him, they would make an exception." The man swallowed hard, his grip on the child tightening. For the first time, the truth settled heavy in his heart. This was not madness, not lies. The hunters were real, the danger was real, and his part in this story had only just begun. The tunnel was narrow and damp, the walls rough and cold to the touch. The man held the boy's hand tightly, the woman leading them with urgent steps. Behind them, faint echoes of metal rang out, hunters moving above, searching, tracking. Every sound made the man's heart race faster. He had never known fear like this. "Not until tonight," the woman whispered. "They will not stop. The bond has marked you. They can sense it even in the dark." The man's breath grew heavy. "What bond?" he snapped, though he already knew the answer. The woman glanced back, her glowing eyes catching the dim light. "The bond between father and son. You felt it when he touched you. Now they feel it too. That is why they came so quickly." The boy squeezed the man's hand. "I didn't mean to," he whispered. Guilt in his small voice, the man looked down at him, his heart softening despite the fear. "It's not your fault," he said quietly, but deep inside, he knew the boy was right. This connection was dangerous, yet unbreakable. At last the tunnel opened into a wide underground chamber. Old stone pillars stretched upward, broken and worn. Faint light shone from cracks in the ceiling. Enough to reveal the space. The woman stopped, her face tense. "This is where we make a stand," she said firmly. The man's eyes widened. "A stand? Against them? Are you insane? We need to keep running." The woman shook her head. "We cannot outrun them forever, and if we keep running, they will track us to the ends of this world. We fight here. We show them the truth." The man swallowed hard, fear battling with disbelief. He had never fought anyone in his life, never held a weapon stronger than a hammer, and now she expected him to face monsters built to hunt and kill. "This is madness," he whispered. But the woman placed her hand on the boy's shoulder, her voice steady. "For him, there is no madness, only survival." Before the man could argue, the sound came. A low, metallic growl. Echoing through the tunnels, the hunters had found the entrance. Their glowing red eyes lit the dark passage like burning coals. The man's chest tightened, panic flooding him. "They're here," he breathed. The woman pulled a curved blade from her cloak, its edge glowing faintly blue. Her stance was calm, ready. "You stay with him," she told the man. "I will hold them back." But the man stepped forward, shaking his head. "No, I won't just stand here. If this boy is mine, if I truly am his father, then I fight too." The woman looked at him. Surprised for a moment, her eyes softened with respect. "Then fight," she said, handing him a smaller blade. It felt heavy in his hand, yet strangely familiar, like he had held such a weapon before. In another life he could not remember. The hunters entered the chamber, their steps in perfect rhythm, tall, armored, their faces hidden behind masks of steel. They raised their weapons as one, red beams glowing at the tips. The woman stepped forward with a sharp cry, her blade slashing in a blue arc. The first hunter fell, sparks flying, but the others pressed in without pause. The man gripped his blade tightly, fear pounding in his veins. Then the boy shouted, "Father, behind you!" The man turned just in time, swinging the blade wildly. The weapon met steel, sparks burst, and the hunter staggered for a moment. The man's heart leapt. He could fight. He could, but the hunters were strong, relentless. One struck his arm, sending pain through him. He stumbled, nearly falling. Then he felt a small hand on his back. The boy's touch, warm, alive like before. Energy surged through him, his fear burning into strength. The man rose, his blade steady. His eyes fierce. With a roar, he struck again, his movements faster, sharper, as if guided by something beyond himself. The woman fought at his side, her blade glowing. Together they cut down one hunter, then another, but still more poured in. Their red eyes unblinking, their steps unbroken. The man gasped for breath, sweat pouring down his face. "How many are there?" he shouted. "Enough to take us," the woman replied grimly. "But not if the boy awakens." The man froze. "What do you mean awakens?" The woman's voice was sharp, urgent. "He carries power, the gift of both our worlds. If he uses it, we can turn this fight." "But he has never tried before." The boy stood trembling, his hands glowing faintly now. I don't know how," he whispered. The man turned to him, his voice breaking through the chaos. "Look at me," he shouted. The boy's wide, glowing eyes locked on his. "You're not alone," the man said firmly. "You have me. I'm here. We fight together." Something changed in the boy's face. The fear faded, replaced by determination. His small hands lifted. Light bursting from his palms, the chamber shook, a wave of force exploding outward. Hunters staggered, their weapons sparking, their armor cracking. The man shielded his face. But through the light he saw the boy, not weak, not helpless but powerful, a bridge between two worlds. Just as the woman had said, the hunters regrouped. But now their movements were slower, uncertain for the first time. They seemed afraid. The boy stood taller, his glow surrounding him like fire. The man stepped to his side, blade ready. The woman joined them, her voice filled with pride. "The truth is here," she said, "and nothing will stop it now." The hunters let out a metallic cry and charged again. But the man no longer felt fear with his son beside him. With the bond burning stronger than ever, he raised his blade and met them head on. Not as a shopkeeper, not as a victim, but as a father who had found his truth. The underground chamber echoed with the clash of steel and the hiss of energy beams. The man fought with everything inside him, his blade swinging, sparks flying with each strike. Beside him, the woman moved with fierce grace, her glowing blade cutting down hunters, and in the center of it all, the boy stood with light burning in his small hands. His glow filled the darkness, pushing the hunters back step by step. For the first time, the hunters hesitated. Their red eyes flickered, their movements slowed. They were built to hunt without fear, but now they faced something new, something their creators had not expected. A child of two worlds whose bond with his father awakened strength beyond measure. The man gasped for breath, blood dripping from a cut on his arm. But he felt alive, stronger than he had ever been. Every time he looked at the boy, the warmth of the bond returned. It was not just power, it was purpose. And that purpose made him fight harder than fear ever could. At last, the last hunter fell, sparks bursting as its body crashed to the ground. The chamber grew silent, broken only by the sound of the man's heavy breathing. He lowered his blade slowly, his body shaking. They had survived, but the battle had changed everything. The boy walked to him, his glow fading slowly. "Father," he whispered, "did I do well?" The man dropped to one knee, pulling the boy into his arms. "You did more than well," he said, his voice breaking. "You saved us. You saved me." The woman watched them, her eyes soft, her face tired. She sheathed her blade, then spoke quietly. "It is only the beginning. Tonight was not the end. The hunters will return, stronger, smarter. They will not stop until he is taken." The man looked up at her, still holding the boy. "Then let them come," he said firmly. "I won't run anymore. I won't deny him anymore. He is my son, and I will protect him no matter what it takes." The woman's lips trembled, a faint smile breaking through her sorrow. "I prayed you would say those words," she whispered. "For so long I feared you would turn away. But now I see. The bond is real. He has found his father." The boy leaned against the man's chest, his small voice soft but certain. "I knew you would come for me." The man closed his eyes, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. He had not searched for this child, but somehow the child had found him. And that truth was stronger than any lie. The woman stepped closer, her voice lowering. "There is one more truth you must know," she said. The man opened his eyes, his body tensing. "What truth?" She looked at the boy, then back at him. "He was not created by accident. You were not chosen by chance. The day they took you, they saw something in you. Something rare. Something no other human carried." The man's blood ran cold. "What are you saying?" The woman placed her hand over her chest, her voice filled with gravity. "I am saying you are more than just his father. You are the key. The bond between you and him is not only blood, it is destiny. Together, you are the bridge between our worlds. Together, you can either save us or destroy us." The chamber fell silent, the weight of her words pressing down. The man shook his head slowly. "I'm just a man," he whispered. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. He had felt it in the fight. The strength that was not his alone. He had felt it in the boy's touch, the power of something larger than himself. He was no longer just a man. He was a father, and through that bond, something greater. The boy looked up at him with glowing eyes. "I don't want to be a weapon," he said softly. The man held him tighter. "You won't be," he promised. "You'll be my son." "Nothing else. No one will take that away." The woman nodded, her face serious but hopeful. "Then you must prepare, because tonight was only the first step. More will come. Greater enemies, greater trials. But if you stand together, you will endure." The man rose slowly, still holding the boy's hand. His simple life was gone forever, but he no longer mourned it. A new life had begun, a life filled with danger. Yes, but also with meaning, with truth, with family. He looked at the picture on the ground, the old worn image of his younger self. For so long it had been a mystery, a curse, but now he no longer feared it. He finally understood. The picture was not just a memory of who he was. It was a prophecy of who he was meant to become. The boy smiled faintly, his small voice breaking the silence. "Where will we go now?" The man squeezed his hand, his eyes steady. "Wherever we must. As long as we're together, we'll face whatever comes." The woman looked at them both, her voice soft. "Then it begins. A father, a son, and a truth that cannot be hidden anymore." And in the quiet ruins of the chamber, surrounded by broken hunters, the man knew his life had changed forever. Not because of fate, not because of power, but because an alien woman had shown a child his picture and whispered, He's the one. He's your real father. And now he finally believed it.